posted, and off they went running, with the twins in the lead and Jacob quickly catching up. Barker took a longer, steadier look at Sara, a few more streaks of gray in her hair, brought on by stress most likely, and the darkness under her eyes had deepened a shade or two.
"You sleeping much?"
He held his umbrella over her head as they walked. "Yeah, a little here and there. Why?"
"Just checking."
Of course he wasn't going to say anything about her appearance. It had only taken him 3 ex-wives to learn that lesson. Sara crossed her arms, tucked her hands into the warmth of her armpits, and leaned further into him under the umbrella. "I look like hell, don't I?" Barker smirked.
"Objection, Your Honor. Leading the witness."
Sara chuckled. It was good to hear that laugh. He wondered how much of that had gone on around the Winthrop household lately. A wild guess said not much on Sara's part. Settling back into normal didn't mean that memories disappeared, but post-trauma, she was about as good as she could be, he reckoned. She was surviving, and that coupled with time was all it took a strong person like her to hand the pass an ass-whooping with an 8-pound sledgehammer. When they reached the shelter, Sara sent the kids off to the other side, told them to use their imaginations, and play a game that didn't involve torturing Jacob. She said to Barker, "If that poor boy makes it through high school, I'll be surprised. Do you have sisters?" They sat down on a picnic bench where the wood was faded, gray like the sky, and speckled with pigeon droppings. Barker shook out his umbrella and pulled it closed.
"One older," he said. "Name was Beth, and the sweetest woman I ever knew. Well, not when she was younger. Growing up, I'd have been lucky to have your two running the show. They're cupcakes compared to how my sister was way back then. Once we got older, every time I'd go visit and see that bubbly smile, I couldn't help but think that wasn't the girl I grew up with."
"Do you see her much?"
"Nah, she passed about 3 years ago. Brain tumor took her way too early."
Sara nodded. It's always too early with something like that.
"Right."
"So what's up, Mr. Bloodhound? Still coming around to make sure I'm sane?" She leaned back, looking past his shoulders. "Jacob, no hanging from the rafters, please." "But, Mom," I said, "no. And how did you even manage to get up there? Just let me down, now." Barker watched in amusement as Jacob dropped to a picnic table and hopped down to the concrete flooring. He'd never had children of his own, and seeing other folks deal with theirs made him both regret and applaud his decision.
"He's a handful, huh?"
"You want him?" Sara asked. "No charge."
"I'm good, thanks."
Barker pulled a cinnamon-flavored toothpick from the breast pocket of his suit coat and tucked it into the corner of his mouth. He'd given up smoking 6 months ago, and so far, so good. Except for that morning. It would have been the perfect send-off to spark up and blow a plume of smoke in Donald Tims's face. "Still quit?" Sara asked.
"Yep, I ran 2 miles yesterday, too."
"Good for you."
Let me rephrase. I shuffled and coughed up a lung for 2 miles. Anyway,
Barker said, getting up from the picnic table, groaning as he went, feeling the soreness in unused muscles. Tomorrow would be hell. He sighed, put his hands in the pockets of his slacks, and shook his head. He stared out across the playground through the sheets of rain, looking at the tree line across the open soccer field.
"Sara, I don't want to do this."
"Do what?" She squinted at him with that questioning look that was a mixture of confusion and get to the point.
We have a situation, and the suits, well, they wanted me to ask you for help. And I told them, I said, no, sir, she's been through enough already, and I'm not dragging her into something like this. I mean, it's big, like national security big. And there's this guy from the FBI named Donald Timms, and he's got perfect hair and the whitest teeth you've ever seen. Real jerk, you know? But he's a Fed, and what the Almighty says goes. At least that's the way it works, and
Barker? What? Sara interrupted, slightly shaking her head. He pinched the bridge of his nose and took a deep breath.
Right. Sorry, I ramble when I get fired up.
Did I hear you right? Did you say the FBI wants my help with something that has to do with national security? Barker instinctively reached for a cigarette pack and grumbled when he found the empty spot where they'd been for most of his adult life. Had he quit too soon? Like his nicotine quit coach had said.